All right, y'all come on into the Zoom room and we're about to get started with our demo session. There it goes. All right, we're just making sure that we were good and live for our preview session. And I'll give y'all a moment to go ahead and get settled into the room. You're not going to be doing anything just yet for the first hour. I'm just going to be demonstrating. Then after I demonstrate, you all will be sharing your screen. I won't even be showing my screen, and we'll be working on your computers. So for those of you who are in the Zoom room, we want to make sure a few things here. If this is your very first time ever doing a Photoshop class, go ahead and give me a 0 in the chat. I just want to know that you've never done a Photoshop class with us live before, and that might be quite a few of you, and that's okay. All right, all right. Hey, Regina. Awesome. Okay, so what I want to make sure that you all have for tonight, and I'll do a walkthrough session with you, but I just want to make sure that you have Photoshop downloaded and updated so that if you have the latest version of update of Photoshop, then you'll be able to do all the AI that we're going to do inside of Photoshop tonight. I'm going to bring over the file I'm going to be working in a demo session for you. And also I want to make sure that you're not using Zoom in the browser, but that you're actually using Zoom downloaded on your desktop. If you don't have Zoom downloaded on your desktop, then I won't be able to draw on your screen and tell you where to click and help you as best I can, because I will not have the opportunity to draw on your screen or even take over the mouse if I need to take over the mouse. So let's make sure that you have Zoom downloaded, and that's where you are viewing us this class tonight. And for the future, you always want to use the downloaded version of Zoom, not the web browser version. All right. And then all together, we'll download the files, we'll install the fonts. We're going to do all of the steps tonight. We're going to cut out a background. We're going to fade off the bottom of the image. We're going to do expanding the background. We are also going to do some advanced techniques that I'm going to show you all tonight for my OG triple OGs. Of course, you're going to learn something new tonight as well. So I just want everybody to stick together, stay on the same page so nobody goes ahead and nobody gets lost. Don't worry, Regina, we're going to download the fonts together. That's beautiful. Also, if anyone needs help setting up their workspace tonight, if it's your first time, now if you're an OG, triple OG, then we have had 100+ opportunities to set up your workspace. So please make sure that you watch the video as I go through that part. I want to just make sure that anybody that's brand new, that I go ahead and help you set up your workspace tonight so that you're not questioning where things are. Your screen will look the same as my screen, and that's going to help you flow through these Photoshop classes, whether they're live or recorded. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'm just doing my demo show off time first and foremost, just to give you an understanding of what you'll be doing. This is kind of the long cut version of what you'll be doing tonight, because by the time I finish doing all of my steps, it's going to make it easier for you to do these steps. That's why I make templates the way that I do. But I do like to show you some of the process since we're doing these extended classes. All right, so for right now, y'all just sit back and relax, watch, and make sure that you have your Photoshop downloaded. You won't have the fonts and the files right now. It's okay, because we're going to do that together so that I can show you exactly where to download it from the back end of your academy. All right, so this will also be for those of you who aren't in the challenge but are in the gold membership, then you'll have access to this through the Photoshop class for tonight. All right, and in the meantime, I'm going to show you how we are going to use the AI artwork that we developed yesterday, how those things are going to pull into Photoshop, how we're going to manipulate them to really do what we need them to do inside our design. All right, so as you can see, remember before we had this cage design and it was all, well, first it was all pink roses or blush roses. Then I told AI to make them blue. And you'll see exactly what I was talking about. The reason why I told AI to make them blue is because I want to be able to change the hue of these flowers. So I'm going to turn this design into more of like a lavender purple theme so that you can see that when you have something in blue, most times you can change it to any other color. All right. So I'll be bringing in some elements here that we created. Let's go ahead and go on over to our Discord AI artwork room. And I downloaded a few images. And this is what you'll be doing for homework too. So what I did was I went ahead and downloaded one of I think I downloaded this one, the Bible image here. So I think I may have fun with this image in the future. I don't know yet. I may do it like as a larger prop, but we'll see. Right now, we're going to use it as is. I have an idea of how to use this for a larger prop, but I want us to complete this project this week. All right, so I picked what image I wanted. It's got the blue hues to it. So now I'm going to incorporate that into our design. But I also have, or did I save it? Maybe I did not. Let me change the name of this so that I can see it because I believe this was our better version. Yes. All right. Maybe I didn't download it yet. Maybe I was going to show you how to download it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the image. And this one, remember, I upscaled it once just by hitting the U1 button. But if I want to upscale it truly large enough so that I can make it like a backdrop, banner, anything like that, then I want to make sure that I hit upscale subtle or upscale creative. Sometimes I like to hit both just to see what it's going to do for me. And you all see all these beautiful images that we created last night. We had a lot of fun. Now, in class, I'm going to give you all the files you need, okay? We're going to work on everything together. Oh, that's cute, Janetta. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to work on the files that you need together. Now, anything else that you do, I want you to do after class as a flip. That is going to be your homework. For my newbies, I just need you to flip it one time. For my OGs, I need you to, especially since you're my triple OGs, I need you to flip it 3 times. And if you're watching this from YouTube for free, please give a thumbs up, please give a like, and also share it with a fellow creative so that they can get some good understanding of what this design life is like. Okay. I don't mind sharing, I don't even mind sharing for free. Because the real value, I'm telling you, is when you get into the Zoom room, you get the hands-on help. I help implement these concepts for you. So it's not just something that you watch on YouTube and can't get real live feedback. The real live feedback is in the Zoom room, okay? So I don't mind sharing for free, but I need y'all to like, subscribe, all those good YouTube things. All right. Let's see here. I believe I just told it to upscale. Let's see if it's listening to me. I'm gonna go ahead and jump all the way to the present. There it goes. Okay, so I have 2 upscales here. I'm gonna open them in my browser. Open in browser. And then that way I can see which one I like better. This one kind of cleaned up. I think this is the creative one. The creative one does clean up a little bit better. Sometimes it gives too many details, but either one of them look gorgeous. I don't know. This one I'm seeing better definition on the stones out here. I think I'm actually going to go with this one. I like the stones out here better. I don't know. What do you all think? Left is 1, right is 2. See how I make a big deal out of almost everything? I'm an overthinker too. even though I tell y'all to keep it simple, sublimators. Actually, I think one is better. I think I was looking out the outside of this one better, but one has better detail, even with the roses. Yeah, I think I ought to keep one or two. Y'all say two? Okay. Shauna's the only one that voted. So Shauna, this is two. We're going with two. All right, so all I need to do, oh, I didn't even check to see if the words, I didn't even check. These are not real words, just to let you know. This is how things appear in my dreams. Like when I'm reading in my dreams, it look like hieroglyphs and random stuff. So although this is, both of them are random, this one looks a little more clean. And this one looks obscure, but it could be obscure on purpose too. Okay, so yeah, I think even though these aren't real words, and this is what I was saying I would like to do, I don't think we'll have time to do it in class tonight because we already have so much in store. But I wanted to actually clean up those pages, make them blank, and then eventually make this an image where we can put like any Bible verse there, or any page or any poem in that space. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, download this one. This is gonna be AI 56. And this is gonna be our Bible with roses and a cross. And this is upscaled enough for us to be able to use as an accent image. It's actually upscaled decent enough where we can even use it for our all overs. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out of that now. And I'll come back to the AI server if we need it for anything. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to expand the background and all that stuff in a little bit. But for now, I'm just kind of building my pieces together. So for my members who've done the last two classes, you understand that we learned how to do a backdrop, expand it, upscale it, resize it, all that stuff. Then we incorporated some text and photo details. So today I want to show you when I'm designing, especially a big project, because what we're going to do with this, y'all, we're going to design a big project tomorrow. We're going to do an Automizer tomorrow. It's going to be a small one, but what you're going to see from that is that all of the elements that we pull in can be used for several different things. So it can be used for a program, it can be used for a t-shirt, it can be used for a yard sign, a banner, a backdrop, etc. So I'm just giving you the ideas of how to think of the things that you're going to need for your setup. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just open this one up and show you how to cut out the background. So here inside of Photoshop, we have an object selection tool. And typically if you hover over something, it's going to give you an idea of what it's selecting. But for me right now, I'm just going to select this outside white part, see if it gets that. It got a little bit too much there, so I'm going to do Control D to deselect. And then I'm going to try out using the cloud and then hitting the select subject feature. See if it's going to separate the foreground and the background. That worked out great. You see it kind of got everything all together without me having to choose the little pieces here. Now what I'm going to do is hit select and mask. This is going to help me understand, and I usually will choose the red color unless my graphic has red in it. And I'll bring down the opacity just a little bit to see if I'm cutting anything important off. And this looks really good, y'all. So I'm going to hit OK. Now it didn't cut the background out yet. It just created these little, what we call marching ants. These little dotted lines here represent basically like a tracing of the contour. Okay. Now once I hit this rectangle with the circle, that's going to make a layer mask. And that layer mask hides everything. It didn't delete anything, it just hides it. So I want you to pay attention to this layer mask here because black conceals and white reveals. So think about it like that dress that you love or hate, because the black is going to snatch Okay, I don't know how I got muted. How long was I muted now? Okay. I think it happens when we mute everybody in the room. So y'all don't be afraid if you need to unmute to tell me that I muted Hannah, because I'm not looking at the little chat going, and I don't know how often I was talking without my sound on. Okay, 7:18. Okay, that wasn't that long ago. All right, all right. So okay, got you. Thank you, Regina, for keeping me on track. So yes, the black is going to conceal and the white will reveal. That's the whole point of a layer mask. Now in Canva, it was called a frame because that frame is fixed. You can only drop one thing at a time into the frame. I'm going to show you later on how we can do some really cool stuff. We can modify our in this case, it's called a layer mask, not a frame. We can modify the layer mask. We can blend multiple things together. I'm going to show you how you are going to be able to do advanced things in Photoshop that you never dreamed you could do, but your reality is going to come true today. All right, so I have this cleaned up here. Now I'm going to just go ahead. I'm going to save it as a PNG cleaned up. Oh, I'll give y'all this one cleaned up today because we're going to cut out the young lady. So we don't need to do a lot of cutting out. I just want you to get a example of each thing that we're going to do. We're doing a cut out, doing a fade off, etc. So I will save this one for you all with the background already cut out. And then you'll start to see some of my little elements here. I'll do the same thing with the bow. Let's go ahead, do the cloud, select subject. And then you'll see it gets complicated when you have complicated images. So it may or may not clean up everything. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is how are you going to be using it? If you know that you're going to be using this with a background and all of these details are not going to matter, please use your image in the way that it's going to be used first so that you can see whether it's not worth me going in here and taking out all of these different details unless I'm literally creating a piece of clip art that will be on a contrasting color and you will see all of this white. Okay, frequently I'm doing this on some type of pattern or grunge color background anyway, and it's not going to make that much of a difference. Now, the reason why I let you all pick this one yesterday, remember I told you it was going to be difficult, is because it has all of these details around it. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add, like I don't want it to get rid of this part here, so I'm going to hit my plus sign and add to it. And my plus sign up here, I'm just adding to it. And then I'm going to hit my minus sign. I'm going to say, okay, if I were cutting this out right now, this would probably be a little too much for me to cut out. So I'm just going to clean it up. There we go. And same thing here. I'm going to clean this up so that it makes it easier for me to work with in the future. Now, if you're going for that detail that you wanted there, that's cool. But then you would also worry about having to cut that out. Hold on just a second, loves. You're welcome. All righty. So if I were cutting this out, let's say for instance, you were making this a foam prop, I would not dare try to keep all of these details up here. I would stick more with the outline here. And if that's the case, the easiest thing for me to do, it would just be to kind of cut all of this off. And you can even make this size of the brush bigger. And that way it would make it much easier to be a contour cut. However, if you're using the details because you have a ornate background, you can pretty much preserve most of that. I just feel like I'd rather make it clean for one-time use. And now that I see this, I am going to cut this part out. You see how it's helping me? I am not perfectly cleaning this up, just so you all know. The AI is helping me clean up my edges by suspecting what I want to keep and what I want to take away. And sometimes it's wrong, and then I have to build it back up because it'll erase too much. And as I'm getting closer, tighter inside of these corners, I can zoom in, and then I can also reduce the size of my brush here so I can get in there a little bit better. And I did not have to be perfect, but that cleaned it up pretty nicely for me there. All right, that looks good. Now what I can do to completely see it better is I can bring the opacity all the way up. That lets me see if I did a good job here. I think I could clean this up just a little bit. It might get confused there, but that's why I swipe in little sections instead of doing a whole lot because it gets confused. So that looks really good to me. I can also choose to smooth out my edges here, and that's automatically gonna give me a little bit cleaner contour here. Got a little trash right there. And this is where I was saying, oh, look, I was about to talk trash. Let me undo that one and see if I can just hit it real quick and if it'll let it go. There it goes. So this is where I was saying that in Photoshop, you're going to have more control. You're going to have more options. You're going to be able to make cleaner artwork, more professional artwork, and larger scale artwork. So that's why I do not want you all to be afraid of Photoshop. Okay. I'm just showing you some of the tools right now. We're going to do some of these in some capacity, but this is more of an extended version of what we're doing tonight. All right, so when I hit OK, you notice I have these little marching ants. Now I can hit the layer mask tool, and I don't want this piece here. So I'm going to go to, let me use my pen tool here. And we're not going to use a pen tool today. But when I tell you that pen tool is a saver, if you know how to use it, and you're going to know how to use it because you're going to stick with me for a month. And I promise you, we're going to get to using this within these next 30 days. If you're in my craft to quit, then you don't have to worry. I'm going to take you to that with the next level class. It is a little more complicated to use this tool. But I can take that now, and now I'm only going to be on the layer mask. I'm not on top of my image. I'm on top of my layer mask. And as long as I have black in the foreground, I take my paintbrush, I can paint just over that area, and it concealed that part of the image. So now I do Control D, deselect, because I want to not have anything selected, no marching ants. This looks good. So now I'm going to save a copy of this one because some of you may want those details later and I'll have them, but for this one, we're just going to keep the nice, clean bow. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, because once we do the Automizer, we're also going to be using our accent images to create cutouts or standees. And in order to make a standee, you need it to be something that you can cut by hand. All right. All right, so I'm just making sure I have all my little elements here. So I have my bow. I do have my Bible and my cross. I'm going to go ahead and
Doc, you're muted again.
how do I keep getting muted? How is that happening? Okay, but thank you for telling me I'm muted. Y'all, just stay on. I don't know how it's muting me because I'm literally not even touching the keyboard. That's the only way I can mute is with the space bar. So I don't know. We'll figure it out, y'all. All right. So it may even have something to do with when people come in the room, it may be muting everyone, including me. So let's see.
Yeah, that's possible because someone had just entered and
Okay.
you were muted.
Okay, what I'm gonna do, let's see, Hannah, I'm gonna give you host. You can give me co-host. after I give you host. And then that way, just in case y'all need to do anything, you can do it if I'm just running my mouth. All right, cool, cool. All righty. All right, so this one is, you see, it's more of an intricate design. Now this one, it looks really cool, but I would not want to cut all of this out if it were a standee or a contour cut type of image. But let's just see what it does here. I'm going to do the cloud selection, then select subject. And it looks like it's missing some stuff from in here. So I'm going to deselect right now. I'm going to see what's the difference if I select this piece here. And then I'm making sure I'm on the addition selection here. I'm going to select this piece here, see if it misses anything. I think that actually did very well. And then again, I'm going to go to select and mask because I don't know how it's going to cut it off. This is a helpful feature that you may not have directly inside of Canva, but it can still help out. The way Canva does this is you can remember on Monday, we brushed back in parts of the image that we wanted. Same idea here, but you'll be able to see it in real time. So I'm going to add to the selection this little area here that it cut out. I'm going to add to that selection here. And it's kind of guessing what I want to keep. And remember the opacity is all the way turned up so I can't see. But if I turn it down just a little bit, I can see a little bit better. Now, one thing that it is not getting are like the antenna of the butterflies, but in actuality, if I had to cut this out, it probably wouldn't have no antennas if I was cutting it out of foam anyway. Just to be real. All right, and maybe I would include some of these little pieces here if I'm doing it as artwork, but if I were doing this as a cutoff, I don't necessarily have to remove it. I would just hand cut it, and when I hand cut it, I would cut away pieces that I did not want to, the intricate pieces that I didn't want to try to keep. All right, so this looks good here. I'm going to go ahead and just say okay. And then we're going to do, again, a layer mask. And here I could tell that it cut away a little bit of my gold right here. Let me double click on my layer mask here. See how it turns it back on? And I feel like I'm missing my gold. Yep, I am. So I'm going to turn my plus back on, make my brush a little bit smaller. What is going on? Oh, make my brush a little bit smaller here. And then I'm just going to kind of drag it right along this edge here and tell it to give me my gold back. I like that. All right, everything else is cool enough. I might have a little bit of gold here. Nope, I did not thought I did. Undo. Okay, so now I have a different mask here. Now that has the gold trim added there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save that as a PNG. All right, and now I'm going to start building on my different accents here. And for my OGs, for my newbies, y'all don't pay no attention to me right now because I'm doing something a little complicated. We are not going to be doing this in class. I am actually going to do this for you now so that you have it for class. But for my OG, triple OGs who wonder how I make my smart objects, here's your chance to see it live. I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to make it a 12" by 12". Okay. And then I'm going to turn this into one of my accents. Okay, so I'll just name it accent 1 here. And then I'm going to make 4 of them. So just duplicate the layer and duplicate these 2. And then I'm going to call this accent 1, accent 2, accent 3, and accent 4. Now, why this matters is because whenever I'm doing a project, especially like if I'm doing cubes, I automatically in my head know that I want to have some different accents. The reason why is because you're going to probably put different things on the sides of the cube and you just want some options there. If I'm doing like graduation, I like to have different options because I'm probably going to have cutouts or I'm probably going to have little props and things of that nature. So you can put your cutouts, your accent options inside of here. Today, however, we have, I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a smart object. Turn this one into a smart object. I think we only have 3, but I'm going to double check and make sure. I'm turning those into smart objects. So for accent number 1, now I can double click on it. And here I'm going to the Bible for my accent 1 because that's more than likely the one I'm going to use the most. And then I'll turn off this little background here. That's my accent 1. Then my accent 2, what I might use next, second most, will probably be the letter. So that person's last name is substantial, so I'll use the letter W. And then I'll have my accent 3, which will be my bow. So for this one, I won't have an accent 4. And if I ever decide to make an accent 4, I know how to make them because I just showed you. All right, so again, this is going to be images I'm not going to use just yet. I want to make sure that I have everything else in place. I have background, foreground, and text. That's the simplest you can get. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding an accent or 2. You don't have to use all of these accents either. I'm just showing you a way that you can absolutely use those. And then one other thing that we're going to learn tonight is we're going to be utilizing patterns. So I'm going to go back to our server where we were making patterns and images and then see, ooh, y'all got some gorgeous patterns. And I like the butterfly idea because we already are rocking with that. Marv, that's gorgeous. And ooh, the butterfly and roses. These are so nice, y'all. Roses are gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And let me go backwards here. All right, so because I like the doves also, because we haven't incorporated the doves, but I feel like we're kind of doing the freedom with the butterflies instead. So I may go butterfly. So what I may do is take one of the prompts here. And this is how I do like real time, y'all. Kid you not. I'll take that same prompt. I'm going to go to my test room, or I'll do it in my Dr. Shanon instructions room. Take that same prompt. And then here, I want it to have blue butterflies and blue roses. Why? Because I want to be able to change it. All right, let's see what that comes up with. And this is why I don't use the AI classes as just like as only a download for the images. I use it as a tool because sometimes it's going to help inspire me to create something, or it'll be an idea that's almost like what I need and I can easily change it in here. So I really like the contrast of the darker one because I think I may need it to be darker. But I like 2 and I also like 3. I like 1 too, but 1 has a lot of white in it. So I'm going to see which one we'll end up using. The whole idea here is that you're going to be able to take this because you put the dash dash tile at the end. It should, don't know if it is, it should be a seamless tile image. So for instance, this butterfly here, the wing is clipped off on the right. The wing should start over again here. Same thing with the bottom of this image. It should start over from the top here, which it doesn't look like it does that, but it may, because it just barely clips off the end of here. Let's see, does that pop up to the top there? I don't know, maybe that's the top of it there. Okay, it may. I'm literally in my brain looking to see if this is a continuous image. Now I'm going to show you how to test it. Now you're not worried about testing it tonight in class. I'm testing it now in front of you. I'm just showing you the how or showing you the why before I show you the how tonight. I want to show you why it works, not just how to do it. Okay. So that one's pretty. I'm going to go ahead and just open both. Now, because they're patterns, I'm not going to upscale these completely because patterns can take, depending on your system, can take up a lot of space. So what I'm going to do is I open them in the browser, save as, and this is going to be pattern, roses and butterfly. And then I also go ahead and do the second one because I do like to have options. Sometimes I'll do totally different patterns so that I have 2 contrasting patterns, but we're not going to get into that tonight. All right, so I have my 2 pattern images. Now you see how I'm building on the assets that I'm going to be using for this design? And then let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to make a little miscellaneous folder. Anything that we're not using tonight, I'm going to drop in there. I got your PNG bow. So you don't need this one. You got your cutout of your butterfly. We won't need that one. And then these are additional images that I used to face swap. You all pulled those from the server last night. And this is the bird cage image that we're using for tonight. All right, so now you're kind of understanding how I build artwork before I even get started. I like to have some pieces, and yes, sometimes I'll change my mind and change my pieces, but at least I have a good start. All right, so I want to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you all how we're going to expand this background, and we're going to do this together in class tonight. But just in case some of you don't have the AI capabilities, I want to make sure that I have it ready for you as a backup, just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one here, double click on it. This is the extent of the image, but I want to fill out that design a bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to my crop tool. Here we are, crop tool here. And I'm going to want to keep this centered, so I'm going to hold down Control and Alt at the same time. Hover over this edge and pull it out, and you'll see that it's going to give me the same amount of white space on each side. I'm going to hit Generative Expand and then Generate. And remember on Monday in Canva, we were doing some image generation with the AI. This is going to do the same thing, but it's going to give me a little bit better options for the most part. It'll look a lot cleaner than you're going to be able to get inside of Canva. All right, so this one gave me my neutral sides here. I'm happy with this version of it. When I'm happy with whichever version, I'm going to right click and then I'm going to hit merge down. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm just going to pull up a little bit because I know the neckline of my shirt is going to come down here. So I want a little more space there. I'm going to hit generate. And like this seems very complicated. Once you start to do this a few times over and over again, it's going to become easier. That's why I like you all to flip the template 3 times. All right, so I got a little information up top now. Let's see which one I like better. This one pulls a little bit more of the blue into it, but I think I like this one better. All right, I'm going to merge it down. And then just in case, because I don't want the bottom of my shirt just cutting off, I want it to have some area where I can do a longer shirt or a shorter shirt. So I'm just going to extend the bottom here. I know it's just going to give me a bunch of floor area, and that's fine. It just gives me something to fade off. Okay, and then I can choose which floor I want here, which I think I'll choose the second one. Go ahead and merge that down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit save, Control S or file save. I did Control S. And I'm gonna give it a little moment because it's a pretty large file. I'm going to check and see how much of my image is updated here. That's beautiful, just what I need right there. And it looks like I could use a little bit more on the edge here. So since I still have it open, and if I don't know if it's open, I can just double click on it. All right, and then I'm going to, again, Control and Alt, hold that down, make it a little bit more on the sides here. Jeanette, if you missed class last night, yes, there is a replay. Just check the YouTube is still up as a replay. And then if you're in the challenge, you should be in the Zoom room. Y'all, if you're in the challenge, y'all can come on over to the Zoom room because honestly, I don't check the YouTube side much because I'm teaching inside of the Zoom room, but I do glance at it every now and then. And if I see only one little thumbs up, then I might go ahead and turn this little YouTube on off. I need y'all to give me some thumbs up. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share with your fellow creatives so they have something to look forward to on this New Year's. Oh yeah, and Happy New Year's. Happy New Year. It's not New Year's. It's New Year's Day, but it's a Happy New Year. All right. Okay, so that updated, and I really just needed just a little bit of extra information over there. It's really not that serious. So I'm just going to merge it down, zoom on out. And as that saves, I'm going to go ahead and close that out because I'm pretty confident that I got enough information here on these sides to cover up this whole sleeve. But what this means for me is this is also enough data and information to make my tall banners, my wide banners, my chip bags, my gift bags, my funeral program, all of those different things. Because what I'm going to show you how to do tomorrow is we're going to use this flip or we'll use the design that we're making tonight and we'll put it into a mini Automizer that's going to design several other products for us, okay? All right, so that did well. Gave me the imagery that I need on the side here. And then I don't want you all too much to worry about these little clouds here because that was from 295. I showed you all how to edit the clouds, how to move them around, how to recolor them and all that stuff. We're not going to be doing that in class. Okay, so you have the clouds. Turn off your auto select if you don't want to just do what it wants to do. And then that way, if you want to use the clouds as a feature, you still can. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling in my accent images and seeing just what I want to use. I may or may not use all of these things, or I may or may not use any of them. Okay, what I may end up doing is just using these for my cube. All right, so what I like to do is just pull them into position. I feel like I'm going to end up using this one here because I just feel like it's going to make my design. So I'm just going to focus on accent 1 right now. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of getting it into place. And then I'm going to take the hue saturation I did here to change my blues into purple. So I'm going to Alt click and drag that up into my accent 1 and see how it changed my accent 1 there to purple. I'll go ahead and create a clipping mask there. Like I said, this is all going to be on there for y'all. And then what you will end up doing is changing out the colors. All right, beautiful. Now, what happens here is the blues that were in my Bible image are a little bit different than the blues that are in my cage image. So yes, it turned purple, but these purples are a lot more harsh. So if I double click here on the hue saturation and I go to my cyans, I see that I have saturation kind of cranked up. I can bring my saturation down so that I can get a softer purple. Same thing with my blues. The saturation here isn't really up, but I can bring my lightness up if I wanted it a little bit lighter. I actually like it right about there. Bring down the saturation a little bit. So saturation is the punchiness of your color, the strength of that color. So I want the saturation lower. The lower the saturation is, the more of a gray tone or a pastel or kind of like a dull color it is. And I want this to be more of a dull color. Let me go back to my cyans. I'm just playing with the cyans and blues until I get the purple that I want. And if I bring the saturation down here, just a little bit, that's about where I want that purple. Now I can Alt click and drag, create that clipping mask for the W, Alt click and drag, create that clipping mask for my bow here. And see how I made them all purple? Cheryl, stick around with me. If you stick around with me inside of the challenge, I'll have a very, very, very special price for the Automizer. Okay? I promise you. That's why you're inside this Zoom room, because you're gonna get the excellent deal. I promise you. All right, so 1, 2, 3. So I have these accents. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you all my technique for turning these into my little master files here. So I'm gonna group this and I'm gonna turn this into accent3.png. I'm not going into too much why I'm doing this right now because this is a little more advanced, but I'm just doing it for you. My OGs, you know what these master files do. My newbies don't know just yet, so I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to wait and reveal that in class. Okay. So we have our foreground image, which has the text, and I will be showing you in class how to edit the text. My OG triple OGs already know how to do that part. My OG triple OGs already know how to expand the background. So we'll do that together. And then also make sure, I'm going to make sure your background here reaches fully to the bottom. There we go. All right. So depending on what accents you want to use and how, I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do here. I'm going to go ahead and make this invisible because we're only going to use accent 1 and 2 in class for tonight. Or just accent 1, that's all we're going to use. I want to make it simple. So I'm hiding them just for class. But they're in there in the folder in case you want to go a little extra and create some extra images. You don't have to though. Now for this accent 1, I'm going to pull this below my text here. And still want it in my foreground though. This particular accent I do. There we go. It went inside of my text. I didn't want it to do that. And then also, let's say like if just like a piece of something just looked awkward, you can use these accents. I use them all the time. Use these accents to create some interest. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be extra. I think I'm going to use the W. And I'll put Bible on the side, W. Let's see how this looks. Ooh, no, I'll keep the W up there. And we'll do it kind of like as a shoulder design. But I don't want it in my foreground because my foreground, if you look at it, I want it separate. And then let's take the bow. Now I feel bad I'm not using my bow. Let's take that and let's put it on this side. And this doesn't mean use all of these elements. This is just letting you know that you have these elements available to you. You can use them however you wish. And this one will be inside of the foreground, but I'm going to bring it below. All right, so I have my composite here. I feel like I'm going to use this somewhere, but I don't want it in my foreground and I don't want it in my background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. I am going to use it for probably my program or my cubes. Right, so that's why I still wanted to create it, but I don't want it a part of my main image here. And then instead of Forever in Our Hearts, I'm going to click on this one, double click, and I'm going to put in, well, you know what? I'll put Forever in Our Hearts because we have one that says in loving memory. Let me just go back. And if I want to undo, I can just keep clicking up in these history instances. And then I have that where I want it. All right, so my final check here is going to be change out my smart colors and my color number 2, I'm just going to make a darker purple. Right about there, because I want this to be a monochromatic thing. And I'll show you all how to change out the smart colors and everything. Choose my darker purple. And then everything that had that green before will now have the darker purple. And let's say, for instance, the Forever in Our Hearts, I want to be darker purple. I'm going to go to Forever in Our Hearts, and I'm going to turn off the light purple, and then automatically the darker purple turned on. All right, all right. One more thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take these 2 smart colors, bring them down here to the background area, turn them both on, and I'm going to resize them for you all. Because I'm going to show you how to blend a pattern into this background. So remember we have that floor all at the bottom. Let's say I want to bring in my pattern. And remember we created a pattern. We created a couple of patterns. So I'm just going to open up one of them here. And I'm going to go up to Edit, Define Pattern. And it tells me what it's going to save the name as. I'm just going to hit OK. All right, now right on top of this layer, I'm going to add a pattern instead of a solid color. It's going to ask me which pattern I want. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I'm going to see the butterfly pattern. Now I can make this pattern larger, smaller. I can change the angle of it. When I get what I want, I'm going to hit OK. All right. And then what I'm going to do, my little trick to change the color of the pattern and to do a fade off is to put a layer mask on it first. Then I'm going to fade it off. So I'm already going to do this for y'all. You're just going to alternate. You're going to pick a new pattern and change the pattern. Oh, not that. I need us to be on the gradient. Needs to be on basic, foreground to black, or foreground to transparent. And you see here that it's drawn a little bit of that color coming through. I need this to be the opposite way. And then now, how this is set up, let me change, there it is. I want to show you the old way. You used to never be able to like change your gradient in the middle of creating it. But you see here, I can actually change this up. I'm going to hit Shift so I can make it go straight up in the air. And then you see how that shifted the gradient there. So now I'm going to grab whatever color I want to recolor that. I'm going to choose the darker purple. I'm going to right click, create a clip and mask. And then this blend mode here, I'm going to change the color. And then the last thing I do, and this is for my OGs, because this is basically what I do to build the template. So I'm showing you that process. I'm going to build a levels onto it right now. So then that way, if I ever want to go in and my pattern looks a little too dark or a little too light, I can shift it based on the color that's here. And then I just bring this color up the same, turn it on, change that blend mode to color. And now I can change it based on my lighter color or my darker color. And if I want the lighter color, I'm going to take it closer to the dark shadows here. There we go. And then I'm just going to change this. Oh, I didn't want to double click on it. I'm going to change this a little bit here. Let me delete this layer mask so I can see it better. There it goes. And this is what I was saying in Canva where we don't have the ability to like blend things together. So I can do that in Photoshop, and then that way I can put multiple things into a layer mask and not just one image. I think I'm going to edit my levels just a little bit here before I get this finalized. And I feel like my purple is a little too poppy on this ribbon, so I'll adjust that. Oh, you know what I forgot to turn off? My image assets. So the whole time I was changing this, it was making every little PNG I wanted to make. It's a little magic folder that it makes, so it was making that. So that's why I was wondering why I was a little bit laggy, and that'll do it. So now for accent number 3, I'm just going to adjust. Where am I? I'm going to adjust my cyans and my blues, probably more my blues. Have a little less saturation because it's just a little too punchy. Here we go. All right, and then for my color number 2, I feel like it's not quite the purple I need it to be. So I'm going to grab my color picker tool, and then I'm going to grab the purple that I want. Now that I've adjusted this purple, it looks more like the lavender color that I want. A nice clean lavender there. Because I have my darker purple, but my lighter purple I want to be a little cleaner. And then I can come over to my swatches. Hit save and see if that cleans that up. All right, and that purple looks like it works much better. And just as a tip here, I'm going to turn this one on just so you know it can be used to get that darker purple as well. All right, so this is a multi-layer design here. And I'll have like a little bit more detailed version of this one after we do this challenge, because I do want to add some detail to it, but I don't want to do too much that we can't get done in class tonight. So here is what I'm going to go ahead and save for you all. And we're going to take a little 5-minute break. That way, I'm going to walk with you how to download the file, how to install the fonts, how to change out the image, how to change out the text, and all of those beautiful things. If you need to use the restroom, now is your chance, because we're going to lock in just a moment. So for those of you over on the YouTube side, this is goodbye for tonight. I did a full demonstration. I showed you a lot of different things, a lot of different tools. And if you would like hands-on help, you want to be in the Zoom room, please don't forget to comment the word memorial on any of our Instagram or our Facebook posts, and it will give you the opportunity to join not just this challenge, but it'll give you the opportunity to join us in the Crafts Equip program for 30 days. And that's going to be 4 weeks worth of us doing AI every week, Photoshop every week, and you'll get hands-on experience inside the classroom. All right. So on the YouTube side, I bid you farewell. I appreciate you. I love you dearly. Until next time, bye. And for those inside the Zoom room,